So my name is Autumn Chapman. I teach art at Belfry High School. This year I have 4 sections of art and usually end up with really small numbers for the Art 4 because it's the kids who actually want to stick around and hang out with me for 4 years, which I appreciate. So at the beginning of the year, I usually ask them, well, what haven't we done yet? What do you want to do? Nothing is kind of too crazy. Nothing is too small. At this point, an Art 4 student's already done oil on canvas and photography and printmaking and clay. And so it's really more, hey, what do you want to do? What can I do? What can I gear your curriculum around? And so we made a long list of things that we wanted to make or do. And one of the things they mentioned is they wanted to airbrush, which is something that vendors do at festivals. If you ever go to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, usually people go there and get a t-shirt and you pay outlandish amount of money for it. But it's not something that they've ever had or been able to touch or do hands-on. So I wrote the grant for them. Cross-curriculing. It's not a real word, but mixing with another department in the building. I mean, I'm an art teacher, not an English teacher. That's you. We mixed with English so that the idea is that we wanted to create visuals for freshmen in an English 1 class who are reading stuff that is way older than them. They're usually not interested in, but if they have a visual to tie to, maybe they would be more interested in the content. And so that is what Kelly's going to talk about.
I'm Kelly Mahon. I am the English teacher, like she said. I have all freshmen, so I have the babies when they come to us. I know some of you are also like, oh my, yes. It's never a dull day, I will say that. Like Miss Chapman just said, we kind of worked together, and she came up with this really cool idea, and I love that because I've tried to incorporate art a little more this year. My kids have been doing interactive notebooks. I love art. I love the creative side of art because it makes you experience things in a whole different way than just reading it on a page. It makes it come to life. And I'm so excited whenever we work together because Edgar Allan Poe is like my very favorite writer of all times. I love him. And my kids get to see me like nerd out about him all the time. But again, like she said, this is something that more than 150 years ago, Edgar Allan Poe was, he was around and he was making his craft known, and we're still reading him today. We actually just are finishing up Shakespeare. So 400 years he was around, and that's something I try to drive home is even though these people have been gone a very long time, their words still exist. They still have meaning. So part of that is where they are very visual learners. Our entire society. How many teachers do we have in here, by the way? Okay, you all know, and you can back me up on this, kids are very visual. What do they usually have in classroom with them? Not paper and pencil. What else do they have with them? There you go. Their entire life is on a little device, somewhat this size. So they have become a very visual society. I'm also a visual learner myself, so I can get behind that, and that's why I love the whole incorporation of art. Well, working with Miss Chapman, we talked about, what's something good that we can bring about that would mean something to my kids. And she came up with the idea whenever I was bouncing a few things off of her, using Edgar Allan Poe. And they are actually using it on Matboard. It's a work in progress as well. They are doing a portrait of Edgar Allan Poe, which I love because I can use that to teach theme, and I can use it to teach tone and mood, because if you've ever read any Poe, he's very dark, which I love, because at the high school level, you start to learn that life isn't all fairy tales, rainbows, and sunshine. Life can be very dark sometimes. It can be very tragic sometimes, and you start to get a real aspect on life. And that's why I love that she was like, oh yeah, let's do the Poe route. Like I said, it's a work in progress. The girls are going to talk a little more about what goes on, but it is a work in progress because we've had snow days, like several people have already said today. My kids also map tested, so that took a couple days out, and they're going to talk more about the actual aspect of the project. But it's been very exciting, and I love that we were getting to incorporate a whole different medium other than just reading words on a page. We're actually making him come to life and his works come to life.
Okay. While Robbie Ann musters up the courage to talk to you. The visual here on the slide is how far we've gotten on the Edgar Allan Poe. I know it's hard to see. It's just drawn on that map board. But there is his portrait. We're going to have symbols from different Edgar Allan Poe themes or stories that go along with it. No. Tell them how we did it. Go ahead. Because I've never done this either. I've never airbrushed, and so I thought that was great when they made this list of things they wanted to do. That was one of the key things that I've never done, so it gives me the experience, but the kids as well. So then I'm learning in the same process.
Okay, we made a room. It was a storage room, and we made it into a good ventilation room. And then we watched videos and tutorials on how to use them and what we needed to have to make art projects. And we airbrushed on cardboard that we had in a recycling bin outside, and the cardboard absorbed the paint. Oh.
We learned the hard way.
Yeah. Then we used a mat board, and it held the paint and showed value better, the progression of light to dark. Then we practiced making things three-dimensional and realistic. We used stencils we had to make. And then we learned how to blend colors because we were only provided with the primary colors, so we had to learn how to make the secondary colors and different things.
As you can see on what the girls did on the meetings.
Then we had to learn how to hold it and how to use it. In general, you had to use a lever, pull back, and push. It had different ways of coming out. Yeah. And we learned how to clean it.
Okay, so our first project was the aprons. We basically decided to use the airbrushes. We made different stencils, and we either bought them or made them ourselves. I like the idea of making something that is useful in the classroom, but you can also take it home. Like I said, we're seniors and we're going to be leaving, and we get to take these home with us and keep them. We also use we also go to venues and stuff, and we set up and we sell stuff, and we can use these airbrushes to sell and paint different articles of clothing and shoes and stuff like that. Doing stuff like this, it gives an opportunity to like I said, gives I can't think of a word. Yeah, it helps develop life skills and be able to entrepreneurship, and Garrett's laughing at me. We became more comfortable while using these. We didn't know how to use them at first, and yeah, that's basically it. I'm sorry.
No, the idea is that we can go out into the community at some point. We can maybe, as the kids get better at it or I get better at it, we can offer classes like that to people in the community who can come in and mess with a medium or a skill or a trade that they would never have an opportunity to do. So, and that's it.